Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jen and today I'm going to be talking about my journey with lip fillers. If you haven't subscribed, please do so by clicking the little subscribe button below. I'm so close to 3,000 subscribers. I can feel it. Today I'm going to be answering all the questions that you asked me on Instagram, which is at TooDollyMakeup. If you want to keep up with me on a daily basis, just give me a little follow over there. So, fillers. Why did I get them? Why did I want them? You know, all the regular stuff. My lips were always something that I was really conscious of. Not only were they really thin, but they were also, I have a scar on my lip here from where my brother like assaulted me as a child essentially, and that was something I was really conscious of because when I smiled my lips actually curled underneath. I'll show a picture here which is actually the before and after for my braces, but my lip actually kind of curled underneath and it was really straight and it was really crooked, and no matter what I did with lip liner or makeup or anything like that, you just can't fix it if it's really uneven. So I wanted to get lip fillers for so long, and I did loads of research, and I ended up constantly being recommended Therapy Clinic. And what I really liked about Therapy Clinic was that the aesthetic was very natural, which is what I like. I do like to go a bit overboard with makeup and things like that sometimes. I like to keep things like within the realm of like reason. When I decided that I wanted to go with Therapy Clinic and I was really happy with their kind of vibe and their aesthetic, it was like the gods aligned, and I got an email from therapy asking me did I want to try out any cosmetic procedures or anything like that. Had I any interest in trying out filler or Botox or anything like that. And obviously I'm still a bit young. I'm 27, but I'm holding on to it. So I was like, I'd love to try some lip filler. So I went and I got the lip filler done. I got 1 mil done and I was weak for myself. Like, I was absolutely just, I loved them straight away. They get really swollen on the first night. If you want to see how I got on my first, very first experience, I will leave a link to a YouTube video down below that kind of goes into detail about the first time I had filler and my experience. And obviously I'd never had anything like that before. Like, I've had piercings done before, but that was about it. So it was like a whole new world. So I go into real detail there, but the first time I got them done, they swelled up so bad, so bad that night, but they go down in like 24 hours. So you don't really have to worry about that because everyone's kind of worried like, oh my god, I have to go to work tomorrow, or I have to work on Monday. The downtime is really minimal. I also took some preventative measures as well. So 2 weeks before I had the treatment, I started to take lysine tablets, which are, they kind of help you fight cold sores. Now, not everyone is going to get cold sores when you get filler, but I am prone to cold sores, so I just wanted to take that kind of preemptive measure and make sure that I didn't get a cold sore, if that makes sense. Then a week before I got the treatment done, I was taking arnica supplements, and they stop you from bruising. So I had no bruising, and also I didn't get any cold sores or any trauma or anything like that. So once the swelling was gone down the next day, I was Gucci. I was good to go. So it takes about 3 days or so for the swelling to go down fully. But once the swelling has gone down, like, you're perfect. You have no decreased sensation in your lips. Your lips don't feel uncomfortable. They don't feel like they're not yours. They're so soft, and I absolutely love them. A question as well that a lot of people ask is, obviously as time passes, like, do your lips go back to normal? And from what I've seen, like, my lips just went back to normal, which was great, except, and I think this is so cool, my lips, my scar on my lip is actually being healed essentially. Filler itself is hyaluronic acid, and hyaluronic acid promotes the lip to create collagen. And then also, because you're kind of getting that micro trauma as well of being injected and getting the filler in there and it's stretching a little bit, your body is going to create collagen to try and repair itself as well. So my scar that I've had since I was 4 years old is actually starting to go away, and I just think that is madness. It used to be a really hard scar, and now it's just a little line over my lip. So I went back in for a top up at around 6 months, and then I went in for like another top up around like 11-12 months. So I actually filmed the next portion of this video in like April. But girl, my life has been insane. insane. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to transport you back to April, back to my appointment with Dr. Sarah Kate. And I spoke to her all about the most commonly asked questions about filler, and she's an absolute expert. That was like another thing that made me feel really, really comfortable, is that the minute I went in, I felt so safe when it came to actually getting the treatment done. So I'm going to send you into Therapy Clinic, Molesworth Street, and then you'll be back. So guys, I've just got my lip fillers done there, thank you very much, by the wonderful Dr. Sarah Kate here in Therapy Clinic. If you want to see a more in-depth video, I will link my Instagram video down below. And I have a few questions that I gathered from all of you that you asked during the week, and I'm just going to ask. Yeah, shoot away. I'm going to ask questions. So the first question that came in quite a bit is, what actually is filler?
Well, the filler that we use is a hyaluronic acid based product, okay? It's like a volumizer. We can use it to lift, to define, to do multiple amount of things. But essentially, the main constituent is hyaluronic acid, which is a substance which is produced in the body, so that over time it is reabsorbed by the body. It also can be dissolved if you don't like the effect or if there's an issue. So it's very, very safe, which is very important. And everyone knows about hyaluronic acid these days. It's used to plump. Really, really good for plumping the skin, for hydrating, really good for boosting collagen turnover as well. So you have lots of different benefits actually of using filler, not just volumizing.
Yeah. Then we kind of spoke about this before my appointment as well. There's lots of different formulations and types of filler. Is it more preferential, or why would you choose a certain type of filler?
You have several brands. Within each brand they'll have different viscosities and types of filler. Like a brand will have a big range of products, no different to a makeup range or something. So not one particular product is suitable for everything. So depending on what we're trying to do, like lips, we never use too stiff a product. It needs to be soft, it needs to be able to move, so that we use a slightly less hard product in the lips. Whereas if we're doing, say, cheeks, or we're dealing with an area we want to lift or something like that, then you use a denser product. So it's all about product selection basically. We don't use the same product start to finish.
How long would it typically last?
Again, it depends on the density of the product. Say in the lips, we expect about 6 months. Now it can be up to 9 months because it's not as dense. If we're dealing in other areas facially where we use a denser product, it can be a year to year and a half.
And does it depend on the person as well?
Depends on the person, on their metabolism, absolutely. And depends on the volume that you use day one as well. You know, if you use a bit more volume, you'll see the results for longer. But generally what we recommend is, if you know you want a nice subtle effect, you have your treatment, and then maybe 2/3 through the lifespan, you can maintain it and top it up, and that works really well. And that keeps it just at a point where you're constantly within treatment. So you're seeing the effect, but it's nothing too dramatic.
That's what I did. So what are your top tips kind of before treatment, if you have decided already? What are your top tips before you get the treatment done, and kind of after, to look after?
So before, you don't need to be too worried about it, but I would expect with any filler treatment, they all have lidocaine in them. So you will feel quite numb. You'll feel a bit like you've been to the dentist. Obviously, depending on where we've treated. If we're working around the mouth, you'll feel the numbness a bit more. Facially, it doesn't tend to be too bad, but that's something to be aware of. So, you know, generally with filler, we advise have nothing too major immediately afterwards, and generally keep the next 24 to 48 hours a little bit calmer. Don't have big meetings the next day. When you're working in the perioral area, so that's the area around the mouth, risks of bruising and swelling are more common than in other areas. So just keep that in mind when you're booking an appointment. It can be useful to take arnica tablets for a day or two before the appointments, just to have them in the system. But then afterwards, it's really straightforward. I mean, you can see straight off the needle. There's not too much downtime with it. You know, it'll feel a little funny, but that will just settle in. And like I said, straight afterwards, we expect, particularly in lips, so the first 24 hours, you'll have some swelling for sure. That will settle down. So by 24 to 48 hours, that should really be resolved. The first day, we advise no heavy exercise and just leaving the area alone as much as possible. Not wearing makeup. Try to avoid rubbing the skin. The temptation always when you get treatment is to go straight to the area. Exactly. Just leave it alone as much as you can. You can take paracetamol if there's any discomfort, which actually is quite unusual. They tend to be very comfortable procedures. But yeah, no makeup afterwards is the main one, and no heavy exercise. Day afterwards, you're pretty much back to normal. We also advise, say, if you're getting, like, say, cheeks or something like that, you wouldn't lie on your face. You would lie as much as you can on your back.
So it kind of settles.
Exactly, to let it settle. The first 24 hours is really where it finds its place and settles in, you know. And we're very specific where we place it. we want to let it settle in that area. So that's the main thing.
Something else I've done, and I don't know whether this is like a medical thing now, but I'd be very prone to cold sores, especially when I'm like sick or when I am anything like that, and I know it's kind of trauma to the lips.
Absolutely.
So I take lysine like 2 weeks before my appointment.
And that is something I should have mentioned. It is useful if you have a history.
Dr. Jen.
There you go. If you have a history of cold sore, it's a useful thing to take just to have it in your system. Again, it doesn't mean that like every time you get filler you can have a cold sore, but it's one of those things. Just generally when you have some kind of trauma, you know that you get cold sores if you're a bit stressed or run down, and equally if we're injecting, that's just trauma to the area. So if you are prone to them, it's a good idea to take it. It's just, again, look, we know things that happen commonly afterwards. If you're prepared for it, it's never a big thing. That's what we recommend.
I think I saw that because like before I got fillers done the first time, I was literally the person that was like, fillers, what can go wrong, what can go right, what do I do?
I think it's really important to inform yourself, because I have people that come in and they book in for filler but they've never actually looked up what filler is. And you know, I think it's good, the first thing that people should do is educate themselves a little bit about, you know, what are good, what's bad, what they want to achieve, you know. And if you know a little bit about the product, it's really useful, then I can guide you a lot easier. Whereas if you're starting from complete scratch, you know, I think I think it's always good to do a little bit of research yourself. Don't believe everything you read, but to know a little bit about what it's about is a good idea.
Can it be removed, and like when you're finished, will the area just go back to normal, or?
It can be removed. These are all based on hyaluronic acid, so there is an enzyme basically that we can use to dissolve that. Generally it's used to dissolve in case of complications, which would be more vascular, and that's obviously a big issue. Everything we do in terms of treatment is to avoid those issues, but if it was to happen, there is an enzyme that can be used to dissolve. Equally, if you really do not like the effect, it can be dissolved if it's a hyaluronic acid based filler, which is a really nice safety net to have.
It is definitely, and when it's finished then, like when you actually don't have filler anymore, does the area just go back to normal?
Generally does, I mean, this is going to be reintroduced or reabsorbed by the body, so when you get it done, provided you haven't had any gross distortion or used a huge amount of product, you just go back to where you were. So very much. No worries, good to see you.
Okay guys, I'm sending you back to my bedroom. So like, I hope you found that really helpful. I always think it's great to kind of hear from someone who's an expert in their field. I'm about a year or a year and a half on from the first time I got fillers at this point now, and I've gotten 3 mils in total. What I think I probably have left in my lips now is about 1 mil. So these are about how big they were when I started out, and I'm really happy with them. I just love how like lipstick looks on them, how I can do gloss all the way to the edge of my lip, which I know sounds ridiculous, but I really am so happy with them. This video is by no means telling people to go get filler, and I mean, if you're going to take that from the video, that's fine, but this was my decision. I'm a 27-year-old woman and I wanted to get it done, so I got it done, but I don't think it's like a necessary thing, or I don't think it's like an essential thing. So please don't take this as me telling everyone they need to go get filler. I'm very happy with my results. Couldn't recommend Therapy Clinic highly enough. This is not sponsored content, this is nothing like that, but I just think the service that you get when you go into Therapy Clinic is absolutely unparalleled. You are made feel so safe. There's no question that can't be answered, and if they don't know about certain things, they will check it and come back to you. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen that recently I was at the launch event of the new clinic that's on South William Street, and lads, it is stunning. It is just for injectables, so I think they're only doing like Botox and fillers and things like that as well, but it is such a nice clinic and it's right in the middle of the city centre. If you have any more questions, please leave them down below and I will try to answer them to the best of my ability. If you have any burning questions for therapy, there's so many ways to get in touch with them online. You can call them. I'd highly recommend going in for a consultation and seeing what's available for you if you are interested in kind of cosmetic procedures and anything like that. I really hope you enjoyed this video and it was somewhat factual, and I hope to see you all again on my channel. If you want to keep up with me on the daily, as I said, follow me on Instagram, it's at TooDollyMakeup, and I will see you all very soon. Bye!